So last week we gave a non-league club a 150,000 seater stadium and then simulated 10 years into the future to see what would happen. We had two predictions for the outcome, one where nothing really happens or changes and the other where they go absolutely parabolic. In the end it was kind of in between the two, with them ending up in League 2 after 10 seasons, finishing a lowly 16th. But we were seeing some steady progression, so we decided that we're going to do another video where we simulate further into the future to see how they get on. Now it's important to note that we've not changed anything to do with the club other than the stadium and how many people go to visit the stadium. Nothing to do with reputation, nothing to do with the finances, it's literally just the stadium capacity and how many fans go to that stadium. Although as a byproduct, the finances have gone absolutely astronomical, £101 million in the bank balance right now, and that's all because of 150,000 people turning up to watch them every single week. So let's dive into the future and see exactly what's going on. But before we do that, I just want to say thank you, because this past 7 days, I've had over 250,000 views on this channel. And to put that into context, in the previous 5 years of doing this, I've only ever had 3 months where I've had over 250,000 views, which is phenomenal. It just puts the last 7 days into perspective. So just wanted to say a bit of a heartfelt thank you to everyone who has watched videos, subscribed, liked and commented. It really does mean the world to me, so thank you. So jumping into the future, we're now in 2077, a good 56 years on from the very start of this experiment where we gave this club a 150,000 seater stadium. And if we go and find Leamington, they are in the Premier League. Okay, so something has happened. They've done pretty well. Interestingly though, they built a new stadium and they've actually got a lesser capacity than the 150,000 that we gave them. And actually, it wasn't long after we finished last episode that they changed their stadium. Interesting. So for 45 years or so, they've actually had a much smaller capacity stadium, but I assume they are going to still keep filling it out. If we edit the club details here, we can see that now this has changed massively. The maximum club attendance is 190,000 basically, but the minimum is 37,000. So before we set it to 150,000 for each of those, so they always got consistently 150,000 people. But over the years, it has changed massively. Interestingly, we've highlighted the home fixture they've played so far this season. Most of them have been losses, and most of the games are around that sort of 45 to 50,000 mark, with the Man City game at 63,000 being the exception. So I guess one thing we've learnt, that over time, attendances really do change, and even though Leamington have got themselves into the Premier League, obviously their reputation will have stagnated at that point and they just aren't getting the attendances that they once had. Although we never took reputation, so it's weird that it's taken such a long time for it to sort of plateau. Now, having a look at their domestic league history, starting all the way down at the bottom, they were in the National League and we saw them get into League 2, which was very impressive. They stayed in League 2 for quite a while, got into League 1 in the Championship very quickly, and then kind of became an established Championship team for a long, long time. And now it appears that they are a yo-yo team between the Championship and the Premier League. A little bit of stability there in the 60s before dropping down to the Championship and once again becoming a yo-yo team. It looks like their highest ever finish was in 2063-64, where they finished 8th in the Premier League. But interestingly, have never gone on to win many league titles or cups, just the Vanarama North, the National League and Sky Bet League 1 once. They've never won any other titles for leagues. They've been promoted via playoffs or second or third in the leagues, for example, the automatic places. That's fairly interesting. And sorting it by player wages right now, looking at their first team squad, obviously all these guys are regens, but none of their players are on massively inflated wages. At the end of last episode, we saw for a League 2 team, their players are on absolutely insane wages. In fact, they're down in 17th in the overall Premier League wage table on 70 million a year, which is not a small amount of money, but it's way behind the likes of Man City at the top and Fulham in second. Fulham. I mean, Fulham have gone to win on 6 Premier League titles in the last 10 years. Fulham are absolutely dominant. Like, the Premier League right now is just Fulham, West Ham and Man City. Tottenham had some domination, and Newcastle did a few times with some titles, but I mean, Fulham are the team to be right now. Right, let's dive into Leamington's finances a little bit deeper, and it's not looking good right now. Minus 63 million. Now, obviously, because they're only getting 45, 50,000 people through the gates, like they're not making as much money as they were when they were a non-league team getting 150,000 people. Or if they are, it's because obviously the ticket prices have gone up massively. But I imagine they would have made more selling 3 times as many tickets for less money. Now, looking at the expenditure, the ground maintenance is not actually as high as I thought it was going to be. Last season, 15 million. This season so far, 11 million. It's actually the wages and the transfer expenditure which are astronomical. They are spending a ton of money on transfers, nearly 250 million in the past 2 seasons, and then wages add on that another 125 million pounds nearly. It's a lot if you include bonuses as well. The match day expenses are at 10 million. That's quite a lot, to be fair. They've got to pay a lot of stewards and things like that, so they're paying about 25 million pounds a year for this stadium. But the gate receipts and the corporate facilities are more than paying for that. But the gate receipts and the corporate facilities are covering that easily, about 42 million pounds between those. So I'm not quite sure why they're in such bad financial issues, other than the transfer situation where they're spending a ton of money on transfers to stay in the Premier League, but maybe just some bad management. There's no outstanding loans or anything like that either, so it's just, bad financial management. Speaking of management and managers, have they had any good managers over the years? And they've had a lot. I'm not really, I don't recognise any of these names, if I'm honest with you. What I do find quite funny, though, is that for 24 years, Paul Holleran, who we can't click anymore because he has retired, has stayed at the club for a long, long time, and after that, they've had an inordinate amount of managers, ridiculous amount. But Patrick Bamford was the manager at one point. He won League One with them. Congratulations, Patrick Bamford, who, again, we can't click on. Who knows what sort of career he had. Conor Gallagher was the manager for a little bit as well. Again, we can't click on him because he's long retired. Any other managers that we might recognise? I can't say I recognise the names of any of these players, so if you do recognise names of these players or managers, I do apologise. I'm clearly just not as clever as you when it comes to football. Although clicking through a lot of them are just regens. I was about to say this Conor Bradley guy's had quite a few stints at the club, but he's the caretaker manager every single time someone gets sacked. So what have we learned today? Well, we've learned that if you give a non-league club a 150,000 seater stadium and then get 150,000 people to turn up every single week, they can get to the Premier League within 50 years or so, which is pretty cool. I feel like we could do some other variations of this experiment in the future, so do let me know down in the comment section what you think and what you want to see, and also make sure you do drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. On screen right now are going to be some more videos of mine that I've made recently, and if you've not seen them, check them out because I'm sure you would enjoy them if you enjoyed this one. Until next time, have a good one. Goodbye.